Good morning and welcome. This is Sunrise Daily. I'm Ayo Makinde. Today is August the 7th in the month of course, in the year 2025. And the weather in Lagos is rather, should I say just friendly? Depending on what side of the bed you woke up this morning. It's 25 degrees in Lagos, but depending on what side of the bed you woke up this morning, some say it's really, really, really cold in this part of town, or in this part of the nation. How's it on your side there, Kayla?
Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily. I'm Kayla. I'm actually just trying to look at, because it didn't rain this morning, which we're grateful for, even though we thank God for the rain. Well, you know, at some point, we kind of need the sunshine. 22 degrees right here in the nation's capital. It is not raining. And it's very friendly weather, if I could use that same word, borrow that same word from you. A very lovely weather that we're having here. And busy streets, which was very surprising to me. There were holdups very early this morning, which means that a lot of people had a lot of things to get to today, which is not very popular in the nation's capital. The mornings are usually kind of calm, but, you know, really busy day. And we're here to give you your daily dose of sunshine.
Absolutely.
Quite a lot has happened, Ayo, in the course between yesterday and today. Of course, we saw that situation at the airport. We also saw the story from Ghana. We've been seeing the Emir of Kano speaking about. We'll get to those in a short while, won't we, Ayo?
Oh, absolutely, because it's what many people would also like to see, to hear, and to understand exactly what is going on, giving details and all. But as you very well know, Kayla, health is wealth. All of these things we are talking about, if we are not in good enough health, if we are not health insured, I don't know whether that's the thing, that's the term I should be using, but maybe we'll also talk about that. But
it's a good term.
At least
insured.
Absolutely. So, because that's another topic altogether. But, you know, of course, I know you have someone there to talk to us about some of the issues around things that can facilitate our health, particularly that very disturbing issue around GMO. Take it away, Kayla.
I need. This interview right now is actually even personal, because I need to know what I can eat and what I cannot eat. What are GMOs? Are we safe? What's going on? But joining us this morning to have a conversation around food safety is the Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye. I have missed you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome.
Morning. Yes.
Okay, so let's just get it off the table, first of all. What are GMOs, and are they bad for us?
GMOs are genetically modified foods when it comes to food, and they are not bad for us.
They're not.
They are not bad for us, depending on what type of foods they are and whether the safety considerations have been taken. The National Biosafety Management Agency, NBNA, is the agency charged for ensuring safety of foods that have GMOs.
Okay.
We work in collaboration with them. I'm a food freak. I'm a food freak. I want to know that what I'm eating is going to give me a good health outcome. I look at the label. I want to be sure that NAFDAC label is on it, or if I'm outside the country, well, I don't do a lot of shopping now, but before my time in NAFDAC, when I had all the time, I would look at the label. And it's supposed to have genetically modified food written on it.
Okay.
We work in collaboration with the Biosafety Management Agency. We have an MOU with them. They are mandated to ensure that the foods that have GMO are of quality, they are safe, and they're efficacious. Or they are safe. Actually, the efficacy is another agency that is taking care of that.
Okay.
So when you look at foods on the table, you know, in the market, especially grocery stores, you will see foods labeled organic. You will see labels that are not organic.
Yes.
And people have choice to buy which one they want. But For NAFDAC, our goal, we are mandated to ensure that the food that we approve for the market are safe, they are of quality, of course, and they're efficacious. So that is the reason why the collaboration between us and MBNA is very, very solid. Without them certifying that they have done their due diligence in their laboratory or for desk review or whatever, we cannot approve.
Okay.
So it's a joint collaboration between us and the biosafety.
So, Prof, if I go to the store,
yes,
I check, because I love food.
Yes, I love food too.
I love food quite a bit.
Yes.
When you go to the store and you see that there's GMO on the product.
Yes.
Okay, and then if it's there and then you see the certification from the NBMA, you have to check for those two things on the food label.
Yes.
Then you know that it's okay for you to eat this.
Exactly.
That's in the grocery store.
Yes.
What about the market? Because that's what many people are scared of. Do we have some products that are not going through that process of the NBMA certifying that this genetically modified food is good for us, and some of them slipping into our local markets and getting us into trouble?
That's a good question, actually. Because we have informal market, a lot of informal market when it comes to food. And I want to use the example of tomato.
Okay.
You know, of course, we grow a lot of tomato in the north, the central part of Nigeria and so on. And it comes from soil. GMO foods are genetically modified in such a way that it will increase productivity. So there are some tomatoes that can grow within 2 months.
Yes.
Whereas some tomatoes, rather, may grow 6 months, 8 months. You see some tomatoes that are, you can put it in the, in the kitchen, and they will be, having fruits. These are all genetically modified to make sure that there is access, fast access for food. They are not bad. It is that they have been modified in such a way that their yield is much, much faster.
So I don't want to lose this point. So when I get, because that's another thing people are scared of.
Yeah.
So like you buy an apple.
Yes.
And you keep it on the counter, and it doesn't rot for days. That makes people worry. Oh, wait, is this food? Is this actual food? Because what we've been told is that food is supposed to spoil.
It's supposed to spoil, yeah.
Yes.
Again,
so is that a problem? If I have a fruit, if I buy food stuff that just stays forever, maybe not forever, but stays without getting rotten, we don't see the flies around it, the fear that this is not food, is that a genuine fear?
It's a genuine fear. It depends on what was used for that apple to make it stay longer on the. You see, we have a problem in Nigeria. About 60% of our naturally made food get rotten because we don't have good storage. So this is part of why science is done in such a way that foods that ordinarily will not rot on time. However, that is where the Biosafety Management Agency comes in. They make sure that what is used to extend the lifespan on the shelf of that food is okay.
The fear that we have because I understand that with food, even not just food stuff, even with regular other plants, like cotton, for instance.
Yes.
I remember that in Nigeria, we modified our cotton so that it can be resistant to the bollworm.
Yes.
Because we're losing our cotton to the bollworm.
Exactly.
So when it comes to things that we consume, another fear that we have is that genetically modified foods don't digest. It's out there.
No, absolutely.
So a lot of us are thinking, wait, if it's not digesting, what's it doing inside of me? Is it causing me cancer? Is that something we shouldn't worry about?
We shouldn't worry about that. If you are a human being, the food is digested.
Whether it is genetically modified or not?
Whether it's genetically modified or not. It is whether it is approved by the agency before they ask us to release it.
So in the local markets, the ones that are in the local markets that do not have the labels of the agency, what do we do as a people?
Actually, what we do as a people is to make sure that if it is too good to be true, very likely it's not true. For example, and I want to digress a little bit from genetically modified food. You have meat that flies don't go over, that they don't, there's no flies around. It's because they've added some chemicals That is not good. Unless you protect the meat, flies will come, or they will attract flies. But you have to protect the meat, either covering it with a net or whatever, to ensure there's no flies. So there are some additives that people use, like formaldehyde or whatever, that can kill us easily.
We can smell it in the chicken.
Okay, that's a problem.
We can smell it in the chicken.
Yes.
If you've been in this country long enough and you cook,
yes,
you can smell it. When you don't buy raw chicken, if you buy the frozen ones, you can smell it. What kind of regulation is being done in this area?
Okay, NAFDAC is an agency that works with different agencies. The Ministry of Agri is in charge of some of the food that we eat. MBNA, the Biosafety Management Agency, is another one. For example, we do packaged food. We make sure that packaged foods are safe.
Yes.
However, if it is not packaged, like what you are saying now, you go and buy 2 packs of or 2 whatever thighs or whatever of chicken or drumstick or in the market, we don't control that. However, as a consumer, you have to be very vigilant. If it is smelling, you should know where you bought it from. We also don't challenge the system. We don't ask for receipt. Where did you get this? If you have a receipt of what you bought, and sometimes I don't blame people because many of our informal market don't issue receipts. But if it is too good to be true, it's not true. So I told you that I'm a food freak. If it is smelling, I will never go there again. Because smelling chemicals.
Yes, smelling of formaldehyde.
Of formaldehyde.
Yes.
I will never go there. That is part of what we also do in terms of sensitization. We have to, first of all, make sure that the labeling on the food is such that it will inform our consumers very well. And then the risk, that's what I was talking about. If you went to a grocery store and the food, the thing is smelling formaldehyde, go to the manager. Let them know that we are also thinking consumers. We're not just consuming for consuming sake. And we do post-marketing surveillance. Okay. We go to not for chicken and all those things, but unless they are packaged, because our mandate is for packaged food. But if we go there and we find out, or we do a lot of intelligence, we rely a lot of intelligence. We make sure that we track where that food comes from. And if it is bad, we seize them and burn them.
I mean, it's easier to do, Prof, in grocery stores. But the issue is a lot of us are not buying things from the grocery stores. Right. A lot of us are going to village markets. We're going to that place at Airport Road to buy meat. Yes. That's where we're going to buy meat, along the Airport Road, because it's cheaper.
Yes.
And we are hearing most of those things are probably more... they're not genetically modified. At least that's the thinking process, that you're buying from farm to table.
Yes.
So a lot of us go to the village markets. We're picking up potatoes that are dirty and stuff like that. But what the fear now is that a lot of these GMOs have started entering into these village markets that we're in, and then they're not going through the processes of regulation that grocery store foods go through. Is there no way NAFDAC can regulate regular markets or do on-the-spot assessments, like you do for pharmaceuticals, for fake drugs and things like that? You go to the markets for those. Is it possible to do this for food in our local village markets?
Actually, it is possible. It is that we also have state controls over food. So it's not like NAFDAC is the only agency that controls food from the market, from the common market. We have state controls. But when we hear that something is going on somewhere, we step in. So it is not like NAFDAC has the mandate to go to the market, all the markets, and start sampling food. For example, oil.
Groundnut oil?
Not even groundnut oil, palm oil.
Okay.
If it is too red, they might have added dyes to it. And that one is mostly packaged. We normally go to such markets, take samples, test whether it has azo dyes, and we evacuate. We also do a lot of sensitization. We have a complex society. Poverty and lack of education. About 50% of our people are not educated. And this is where your question comes in about GMO. People don't understand that they have to look at the label. People don't understand that if it is too cheap, it may be bad. But because of poverty and lack of education or illiteracy, some people fall into this trap. That is why we go on air twice a week to let our people know. Ordinarily, we should not be doing that.
Before we wrap up on the food,
yes,
on the food topic, I said groundnut oil, and the reason why I brought up is because there's an epidemic going on right now where when you put groundnut oil on the fire, it starts to foam and smells funny. Yes. Again, it starts to foam and smells funny.
That is, again, somebody has tampered with something. They falsified it. That is part of what we do in NAFDAC, that we have our registered manufacturers. They will not deliberately falsify because they know it will cost them an arm and a leg. If we find out, we're going to evacuate, we're going to destroy their products. But if they are falsified, it may not even, the manufacturers may not know. But we also have a food lab in Oshodi, the food lab in Oshodi, where we will test. If we are given an intelligence report or somebody comes to us and says this is what is happening, we test. And we go to the source and make sure that those products are evacuated. And then sensitize. It is sensitizing our people. Don't let just poverty, cost determine what you buy. Because, and I don't blame our people, there's a lot of poverty in the land.
There is.
You know, but at the same time, know where you go to buy.
All right. When we started seeing anomalies in food, it was really worrisome to start.
I understand that perfectly. I'm a food freak, and I don't. Because the food we eat is supposed to make us better so that we use less medicine. That is the way my brain works.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about fake pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
Because that one, that one is something that NAFDAC, I've gone with you on raids.
Yes.
Before we've gone to raid shops.
That's right.
What happens afterwards?
After raiding?
Yes, after the raids, because what we hear is that, oh, this person was arrested, this person was picked up. Sometimes we follow up, and we hear that the owner of the shop was picked up at so and so place. What happens afterwards? How has the prosecution been going?
Actually,
and the kingpins, are we catching the kingpins?
These are all very, very good questions. We have Investigation and Enforcement Directorate. In our Investigation and Enforcement Directorate, we have a squad of police. Because it's not just we have investigation and enforcement, we also have the Federal Task Force that is domiciled in NAFDAC. So we are backed by strong legal framework. If somebody is found falsifying medicines, of course we ask for recall of that product if you're already in our database. When it's recalled, we evacuate and destroy. But it's not just that. We are guided also by laws and regulations.
Okay.
We have our council. The NAFDAC Council oversees the tariffs. It's a arduous process of determining what to charge for what crime.
Yes.
So we have these tariffs that we have to use in terms of penalties and whatnot. If it is grievous, very grievous, we take them to court.
Okay.
There are some.
Are we securing convictions?
We are securing convictions. Sometimes it is slow, but we are securing convictions.
Okay. I do have to bring in my colleague from Lagos. Ayo, I have a few questions for you. Go ahead, Ayo.
You know, the questions that you have asked, Prof, they combine into a number of things, because you've asked about GMO, you've asked about pharmaceuticals, and both of them, madam, I'm going to combine in this one question, and every opportunity I get to ask you this question, I ask. Phytomedicine. On the one hand, whenever any plant is modified, genetically modified, what happens to its phytomedical capacity? Because phytomedicine, of course, plant-based or herbal-based medicine is integral to us in Africa. When the genetics are modified, what happens to their phytomedical capacity? And then you have been at the forefront of this phytomedical thing, collaborating with all the research agencies that are, relevant. How far so far?
Thank you. That's a very good topic, actually, because I believe in phytomedicines. I was raised up with herbal medicines. But we are not in that phase in Nigeria where plants are genetically modified. I'm talking of phyto plants, herbal plants are genetically modified. But bear in mind that when you have, let's say, a phytomedicine, the source is a leaf, you have to extract the bioactive from that leaf. And you have to ensure that what you are seeing as the bioactive is what you used to see before. If it has been genetically modified, it will change. And the good thing about phytomedicine is that you cannot just genetically modify and think that everything will work. It will not work. What nature has already put there is there for the medicine, the bioactives to work. But we are not there in Nigeria yet where herbal plants are genetically modified. But in terms of the functionality of herbal medicines, NAFDAC has listed maybe more than 1,000 products before my time, up till now. Products that are safe. We test the safety, we do toxicology and whatnot. These are products that our forefathers, foremothers have used before. So we know that they are safe. However, the problem with herbal plants or phytomedicine in Nigeria is that we have not stepped it up to a level where we can issue 5-year approval. We do listing, which is 2-year approval. Because to do 5 years approval, you have to do clinical studies. The fact that the medicine works doesn't mean the medicine may not cause harm, may not be toxic. So we encourage our practitioners to do clinical trials. However, clinical trials is very costly. That is part of what I believe the government should support, because we have phytomedicines that work. I know one that works as anticycline. I have a niece that has sickle cell rather. She's been on this medicine for over 20 years. She's now 40-something, going to 50. She has 2 children without much episode. In fact, the episode decreased by about 70 to 80% once she started this medicine 20-something years ago. So we have medicines that work. It is how we can support research in such a way that they can now be approved for 5 years, and then we can also sell them globally. I believe in quality, I believe in safety, I believe in efficacy, but I also believe in trade. Because it will benefit other populations if we are able to do enough clinical research to ensure that, yes, so out of 100, 90 people got good clinical outcomes. Because it's all about statistics.
Well, Prof,
the fact that the medicine works for one person may not work for another person, but if you have a well-designed clinical trial, yes, you can now write it in paper. You can publish it.
Perhaps that also gives us...
in our country,
you've been at this.
And it can also work in other countries.
To the best of my knowledge, Prof, you've been at this for many, many years. Even before, I think it was just after COVID started that you came up on the same program and you told us that phytomedicine was our low-hanging fruit. And the low-hanging fruit seems to be reaching a little higher now. Now, you say that, it is something that it can work and everything. If China could do it, that we have Chinese medicines and the Chinese practice, rife all over the place, then what's stopping us in Africa from doing it? There's so many questions to ask you on that one. And I want to believe that the president will be very excited about that. But then there's also this issue about ginger. Nigeria was once the second largest exporter of ginger globally, but the current crisis we understand now is we are no longer that giant we used to be. The same thing has happened to us it would seem, in the area of cocoa. The same thing may have happened to us in the area of palm oil, and it will seem like we are denigrating or degrading our capacity and our competitive advantage in the world in what is supposed to be our strengths, agriculture. Prof, what is happening here?
You are touching a soft spot of mine because I believe in local content. God has given us such a great biodiversity that we don't need to look anywhere else. Our ginger is one of the best in the world. Our cocoa Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and Nigeria cocoa have the least cadmium content. And cadmium has a negative effect on the heart, you know. So all these palm oil, we were making, Malaysia came to learn how to do palm oil from us. So this is something that is my own soft spot. That how come that we are not tapping into the great biodiversity that God has given us? And we cannot do it alone. The common man cannot do it alone without the support of the government, without the support of the scientists. And the scientists also have to be funded. So it is, let me tell you, they are even lower hanging fruits. But it needs a lot of resources in order to be competitive.
Maybe we should drag it in a little further.
To the converted.
My apologies. Maybe we should drive it in a little stronger. We have the Standards Organization of Nigeria. We've had situations where Nigerians want to export some things and they cannot export them. In fact, some of our produce have been repatriated back to Nigeria for one reason or the other. It's something that you are aware of and you were very, very peeved about when the issue came up. So what is it, what happened, in your opinion, that Nigeria's once thriving ginger industry, once outstanding ginger products, there are reports that they were modified one way or the other and consequently affecting the quality that we have to put out. If you can tell us what exactly happened and what agency of government is supposed to ensure that that nonsense didn't happen or it can be reversed.
Yes, actually, Standard Organization of Nigeria is another agency that we work very, very closely with. Anything that is produced locally, Standard Organization of Nigeria has to set the standards so that those standards match the ones, you know, coming from other countries, especially those that will contribute to good health outcomes. So SON is very big in ensuring that we belong to, you know, we have an MOU with them, we work very closely with them. It is that we have to have a will. We have to have a will to make sure that what we produce in Nigeria can go out without being rejected. About 60–70% of our products are rejected some years back, and now it's decreasing. Thank God for that. To me, that is heartbreaking in a way, because the money that was put together to get all these products exported are already gone. But what happened in the past, where we have been doing a lot of sensitization, is that people sidestep NAFDAC. They sidestep NAFDAC in terms of our testing. We've got to test them, because the fact that you are sending something to Europe doesn't mean that the same standard we have in Nigeria is what Europe has. That is where the Codex Alimentarius comes in. Each country decides, of course, they will give a general guidance, and each country decides on the levels, the minimum allowable risk and so on. So the fact that it's acceptable here doesn't mean it's acceptable in Europe or in Asia. So, but when they don't come to NAFDAC, sometimes or many times their products get rejected. There is no product that we have approved in NAFDAC that has been exported that was rejected. We have to also sensitize our people. Do not go through the shortcuts, because it is money that is going to be wasted. You have to go through NAFDAC, and we have very, very short time for approval. For example, if that product has been used before, in Nigeria we have approved it within 7 days. You can get your approval. If it has never been done before, we have to check the manufacturer or the facility to ensure that good hygiene practice and everything is there within maximum 35 days. Maximum 35 days. We have to test it, and we don't even take money. I was just going to say, testing. Is it expensive? No. So why do they sidestep NAFDAC? First, because people sometimes will rush out to rush products out, thinking that somebody at the port that has told them lies is looking out for good. They are looking for their pocket. So there is no product that NAFDAC has approved for export that has been rejected. Right, so I'm just encouraging our watching audience, please come to NAFDAC if you are doing export. Thank you.
Let's talk about the marketers and the markets that were closed.
Yes.
Idumota.
Yes.
And then the other one in
Onitsha
and Aba. So what happened? What next for the marketers there?
Okay. These markets have been there forever.
Yes.
And nobody was able to really do effective enforcement. And unfortunately, there are some unscrupulous marketers among them that have formed cabals.
That's in these drug markets?
In these open drug markets.
Okay.
Yes. They have formed cabals where expired drugs are revalidated, where drugs that have been banned are brought into the country through borders, through ports or whatever, where low-quality products are sold. So what we then decided to do is, and this is part of what we call our National Action Plan. It is a plan that will strengthen NAFDAC. It is a plan that will improve the health of our people. That is the goal. So we had to face this as going to war.
Okay.
We planned it for about a year. And one good thing that is happening now that I need to underscore is what President Tinubu is doing through the National NSA office, Madam Ribado.
Yes.
Because without police, without force, we cannot destabilize the markets. We cannot remove the bad elements from them.
So you had to close them down?
So we had to close them down.
Okay. So what happens, because it wasn't everybody in the markets that was bad.
Exactly.
So what happens to those who are falling through the cracks right now? What next for them?
Actually, it's a good question. We first of all have to close them. We had 1,350 forces, military, DSS, police, that helped us. That is the role that NSA played in February. So when we barricaded the shops, we have to close them. We walked through the unions. We just didn't go there and start closing. We walked through the union. The union spoke and discussed with their members that we are going to close and then start opening and checking rather. Okay. Checking whether they have good distribution practice, whether they have good storage practice. Almost all of them had bad storage practice. The fact that we even have a good drug, if you store it in a bad place, temperature 40 degrees, 38 degrees or whatever, that product will break down. So that was what we did. However, some of the ones that are very good, that are also there, we couldn't say, oh, you open 1 out of 10, 1 out of 8 or whatever you open. No, we shut all of them down. But as soon as we got in the inventory of the violations of each store, or a violation, sometimes a violation is just, a store may be just having one violation. We had them on spreadsheet. Those that did not violate, there are few, we opened them up. Okay. The ones that violated, we had to give them investigative charge for bad distribution or bad storage practice. And as soon as they paid, we opened them up. But this is not a one-off thing. We're going to continue to do this on and off to ensure that the ones that we have cited for violation doesn't go back to start bringing in bad medicine. You cannot believe what we saw in the stores. You go there, you will feel the heat once you enter the store. And this is where drugs that are supposed to be used are kept. When Governor Soludo saw some in Onitsha, he said, oh my God. He went there physically. Tramadol that we never registered. So you don't even know what is inside the tramadol. So we seized all those and destroyed them. We have that power to do that, what is called C-34 bill. We can enter any shop that we, or any facility that we suspect that have illegal things that will hurt people. So going forward, people that are law-abiding, we don't have problem with them. But this open market and the government stand about it predated me. They mandated, the Presidential Committee mandated NAFDAC and PCN, Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, that is in charge of the site. You know, we are in charge of quality of the product and whatnot. Mandated us to make sure that there is coordinated wholesale center where these open marketers can be relocated. And NAFDAC, PCN, police will be stationed in that drug mall. We have one in Kano already. Kano was the first state that built the CWC, Coordinated Wholesale Center. So all the marketers were moved there, and now we do a lot of post-marketing surveillance. We do mystery shopping to make sure that the products that are in their market are the products that they're supposed to have. And if they don't, we seize it, we evacuate, and also penalize them. So that is where we are going in terms of the future of open drug markets.
I mean, it's a lot of work, and it's continuous work.
It is continuous work.
So
yes.
for the Nigerians right now who are watching this program,
yes.
and a little word, what message do you have for them as we wrap up?
The message that I have for Nigerians, including me, is that we are making sure that the products, the drug products in the market are safer. We do national surveys of all products in the market.
Yes.
But we use that scientific approach because we cannot do 1 million at the same time. You know, we have from anti-malarials maybe about 15%.
Yes.
That is not good. For maternal, we lay emphasis on maternal and child products. For example, oxytocin, that is used to induce labor. It was 7-point-something% before. That's about 3 or 4 years ago. Now it jumped to about 80%. So we have to make sure where are they coming from? And the customs, you know, they've been working with us assiduously, collaborating to ensure that we are blocking the entry points.
Professor Mojisola,
thank you so much
for being with us this morning and for your insights. And I hope we'll have you here regularly.
Thank you so much.
To break all of this down for us. Professor Mojisola, who is the Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for staying with us this morning. The unfortunate incidents of military Z9 helicopter that crashed in Ghana's Ashanti region near Obuasi, tragically killing 8 people, including some top government officials, is very much in the news, and that's the topic of our next conversation with Francis Nto, who is chief reporter at the Ghana News Agency's Business and Economic Desk. He is also a fellow of the IMF Journalism Fellowship Program. Francis, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It's a pleasure.
I can't even imagine how you, as a Ghanaian, and everybody else in the country must be feeling now. I mean, you're a journalist, you know the kind of things you would first of all want to hear. The mood in the country now with the call by the president for mourning and all must be very, very grim.
It's been very tragic here in Ghana, the sudden passing of 2 ministers and other top officials of the ruling National Democratic Congress, NDC, as well as 3 who were on board to a very important program in Obuasi in the Ashanti region. We know illegal mining, which is popularly known as galamsey, has been one thing that governments over time have been fighting against assiduously, and these 2 government officials, together with the 6 others, were on board to a program to launch a cooperative mining initiative in the Ashanti region, where this unfortunate incident happened. So yesterday, Ghana was thrown into a state of mourning, was thrown into a state of devastation. These are gallant men that have been working tirelessly for the nation, and their loss yesterday when we visited the families was very, very, very unfortunate, and people were beyond control. They couldn't console themselves, they couldn't put themselves together. So it's been very unfortunate, it's been very tragic. Following that, the president has announced the cancellation of all his activities for the rest of the week, and has announced also that there should be a 3-day mourning while flags also fly at half-mast. So that's been the situation here in Ghana.
I'd like you to expatiate a little further on the state of the families right now. Some of them are definitely very, very unconsolable at this time. Tragic and, above all, extremely shocking. Tell us about that visit that you talked about, and how much of it can you tell us of what happened?
So for immediate family members, it's been very difficult for them. Most of them are unable to talk on the issue, including the president, who since yesterday has not uttered a word. It was only through the communication spokesperson for the government that has been able to put out a word on behalf of the president. For the immediate families, it's been really difficult for them to speak to the matter. And what has happened this morning is that one of the ministers, that's the Minister for Defense, his mother has been transferred to Accra for health attention. They don't want the situation to overcome her. She's quite old, so they brought her to Accra for some psychological and mental attention. And so that even tells you the state of people who are close to the two ministers and 6 others who have lost their lives in this unfortunate crash that happened in Adansi in the Ashanti region yesterday.
Well, I know it's very early days, and definitely we'll be hearing about investigation and all of that, but perhaps you can tell us if there is any background of anything untoward. There may have been some concerns about aging aircraft and VIP travel safety in Africa. Do you have any idea of what the aircraft may have been? What is it you can tell us about the aircraft that was involved? Has there been any investigation around it? Any background that you're aware of?
So the aircraft involved got into the country about 10 years ago. There has not been any announcement of any defects or anything that could cause a crash of that magnitude that we witnessed yesterday. But authorities have indicated that investigations has commenced. Yesterday, the bodies were flown from the sites in Adansi to Accra and has since been deposited at the morgues, and investigations have commenced, but authorities have not uttered a word as to what really might have caused this situation. And we are all waiting for that investigations to come to a closure, or any immediate information that authorities could provide regarding what might have necessitated this unfortunate incident in Ghana.
As it goes, it's news, right? So the fact that the ministers were reportedly heading to engage illegal mining concerns is something. And a number of people might be alluding all kinds of stuff to it. On the one hand, whether or not this was some kind of sabotage to forestall that investigation. On the other hand, whether or not this unfortunate incident, could stall or put paid to such environmental concerns that the government is trying to avoid with the visit of the gentleman who just passed.
So the president has been keen on fighting illegal mining right from the campaign days prior to the 2024 elections. Illegal mining, which we popularly call Galamsey, has been one of the things on his radar, and he's putting measures to ensure that people are brought to book when they go contrary against rules. And in recent past, what the president did was to even announce that anyone who is able to report an issue of illegal mining, 10% of proceeds from such illegal activity will be returned to such individuals. So you could see that the commitment is there, and these two ministers are also crucial to the fight against illegal mining. We have the Minister for Defense, and we also have the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, who is really connected to such activities, apart from the Lands Minister, who supervises or superintends over activities of our lands which are being depleted, people doing all sorts of activities to degrade them. So you can see that their involvement in the fight against illegal mining was really, really pivotal, and I'm not sure that's going to dampen the spirits. On the contrary, what has happened is that people are calling for renewed strength, that due to the involvement of these gallant men in the fight against illegal mining, they should use that as a pivot to marshal more effort to ensure that in their honor we are able to nip this activity in the bud.
And perhaps that also speaks to the kind of collaboration that is necessary right now. One of the things that a number of people would want to hear from you now is, what do you think Ghana needs right now? Justice, reform, or healing?
Well, I think there is a combination of the three. There should be justice if investigations come out to tell that there was a foul play that led to this incident. Very unfortunate, very tragic. Justice is certainly something that people need. And then for healing, it's been very traumatic in Ghana since the passing of these 8 people, officers of the Ghana Armed Forces, who are really doing their work diligently. One of them recently won an award, a global award, for his work that he's doing in the Ghana Armed Forces. That's Sergeant N.S. Ado. And each story really coming at this point becomes something that people really have to come to terms with. So that healing process is also very crucial from all fronts, be it psychological, be it that emotional support that families and immediate members of these people need must be given. And going forward, it is important that the commitment to ensuring that the country is back on its feet and fighting against illegal mining is also one. So it's a combination of all the three that you mentioned that must be done going forward.
Francis, so now this is what we have on our hands right now. And I know that this is not a normal circumstance, but how soon do you think the investigation might be concluded, at least relatively, for us to get some kind of first instance report? And when do you think this whole investigation can be concluded?
So there have been few cases of crash in Ghana, but the magnitude that this crash happened has never occurred, and the fatality involved has also not been experienced. So we are waiting on authorities to give information as to how swift this could be done, and putting a date or putting a particular date on when this could be concluded could be that you are preempting what authorities need to do. So what we are doing so far is to wait for preliminary investigations to conclude. I don't know how long, whether a week or two, that could happen, but we are in touch with authorities, and certainly as and when these information are available, we will make them known to the public.
Francis Nto, Chief Reporter at the Ghana News Agency, as well as a fellow of the IMF Journalism Fellowship Program. Thank you so much for your time, and we can only wish Ghana all the best. And I want to believe that the whole of Africa is standing right behind the country right now.
Sure, we've seen tributes pouring in from across the world. the UN, the German embassy have all sent in their condolences to the president, the families, and the country as a whole. So it's something that's affected not only Ghana, but Africa and the world at large.
Thank you so much, Francis, and we wait for more in the course of time. And that's the show this morning. Thank you so much for being a part of your day. Do not let this news douse your sun. Go ahead and shine. Amaya Makinde.
Our condolences with all of you and with everyone who's suffering right now. And that's Sunrise Daily this morning. Like I said, don't let this dampen your day. Go out and shine indeed. I am Kayla Magwa. See you next time.